What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's Tuesday evening. It's Mr. Eric Reads. And as you can see, I got kicked out of the normal place that I record from because the tenants of that room, my twin sons, they apparently needed their room. So I got kicked out to the garage, but it doesn't matter because we still got another book for you guys during the second week of our Learn From Home. Tonight's book is by Peter Brown. It's called The Curious Garden. And this one's a little bit more of one of those kind of think about the bigger meaning books, as opposed to some of the ones that, we get to do silly voices and have a lot of fun with. This is still a very good book, but I want you guys to kind of think about what the message is here. So without further ado, let's find out what Mr. Peter Brown was talking about in his book, The Curious Garden, on Mr. Eric Reads. There once was a city without gardens, or trees or greenery of any kind. Most people spent their time indoors. As you can imagine, it was a very dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside, even on drizzly days, while everyone else stayed inside. You could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway, as he did from time to time, when he stumbled upon a dark stairwell leading up to the tracks. Well, the railway had stopped working ages ago, and since Liam had already wanted to explore the track, there was only one thing for that curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out onto the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wildflowers and plants were the last things that he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned, and he had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. And as the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. No, because with miles of open railway ahead of it, the garden was growing restless, and it wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up farther and farther down the tracks and were closely followed by our more delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the Curious Garden explored every corner of the railway. Every corner of the railway. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he'd become a gardener, Liam could not visit his plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Liam spent it preparing for the spring. And after 3 cold months of the snow, it finally began to melt, and Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken its toll on the garden. But thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and that spring it finally was ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and the mosses set out first. They popped up farther and farther from the railway, and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. The garden was especially curious about old, forgotten things. A few plants popped up where they didn't even belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But the most surprising things that popped up were all the new gardeners. I mean, all of the new gardeners. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed, but of all the new gardens, Liam's favorite was where it all began. The end. As you can see, one little boy's act to create a garden in a city that didn't have them created a ripple effect and led to other gardens and led to other gardeners. I wonder if kindness is the same thing. If I'm kind and I create a kind garden, will that inspire others to be kind? I'm challenging you guys to find out, especially during times like this where we're inside all the time, or we're stuck with the same people all the time. Let's not look at that as a bad thing. Let's use this opportunity to practice how to be kind, how to treat other people with respect. And just like Liam in the Curious Garden, I'd imagine we'll create a whole new set of kindness gardens throughout. But that's enough from me. I'll be back again tomorrow afternoonish with our pre-K kindergarten read and another story for you guys later on in the evening. I miss you guys. I hope you're well. Wash them hands and be kind to everyone. Thank you guys, and I will see you around.